Agenda is an update on the Traditional Neighborhood Development Ordinance. This ordinance, the draft ordinance was sent to the Bucks County Planning Commission for their review, and they reviewed it at their October 6th meeting and sent a letter to Council and the Planning Commission regarding their recommendations to the ordinance, and that was forwarded to everyone who had an opportunity to look at it. There were a lot of recommendations made regarding the ordinance, and my recommendation would be to try to get this moving as quickly as possible, and I will let you know that I spoke to Maureen Wheatley, who was the member of the Planning Commission who was leading the review, and I asked her that obviously we need to respond to the recommendations in their letter, and I was wondering what the timeline was that we might be able to follow to finally be able to adopt the ordinance modification. She said that if we are able to have a revised ordinance in our hands and agree to and authorize getting it to the Bucks County Planning Commission the week of November 9th, which is the week of our next regular meeting, that they would review it on December 1st, which would be their next meeting, and therefore we could plan to adopt it at the December 14th meeting. So my recommendation to Council, and we can discuss this, is that we send the draft ordinance with the comments from the Bucks County Planning Commission back to our Planning Commission for their review and response, with the requirement that they get a revised ordinance back to Council for our November 3rd work session so that we can act on it on November 9th.
So moved.
You have to make the motion. Oh, you did make the motion. Thank you. We have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Warren, can you meet that time frame?
Warren Muldorf, Chairman of Newtown Borough Planning Commission. To answer your question, I believe we can.
Thank you.
But as I'm here, I can ask any other questions if anyone has any.
I do. Go ahead, but you had some, George. Go ahead.
I don't have any.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you pulled the microphone down to comment. I guess I know the Planning Commission worked very hard to get this submitted when it did get submitted. And my brief read of this was, it struck me as if we've missed this by a fairly wide margin. And I didn't look at all the details. And we also spent, was it $3,000 or $5,000 with a consultant to kind of oversee where we were going with it. And I don't know if the Planning Commission has seen the response back from Bucks County Planning Commission yet, but why are we rushing? I mean, we were a year ago, and a year ago this coming December, we had Alan Smith come before Council and talk about the wonderful things that's going to happen at Stockburger, and we haven't seen or heard from him since, and that was the genesis of getting this thing started. We've been working very hard to get it done. My recommendation would be to slow down, step back, evaluate what the Bucks County Planning Commission has said to us, and let's get it done in a more controlled environment. I think if we're going to be date-driven with such an important document, we might make a mistake again.
Well, can I speak to that? Having sat through all the meetings on this, I certainly understand what you're saying, Bob. And for those of us who see a lot of these review letters, I think the most detailed ones and the longest ones are the ones which involve a comprehensive review like this. What struck me about it was not just the length, but it's basically a roadmap, which is a critique for how to make the ordinance what it should be, and that's exactly what the Bucks County Planning Commission fulfills as its function under the Municipalities Planning Code. So to me, it's just part of the process going forward to have it go back to the Planning Commission. Having said that, once it gets there, if the Planning Commission itself feels some concern about meeting that deadline for review by the Planning Commission in Doylestown, I'm sure they'll tell us. But this is just one step in the process to getting it moved forward. And the other thing I think to keep in mind, and Warren, correct me if I'm wrong, is that the Planning Commission can focus on this right now. It has the time to do it. Not to say that there's going to be a series of applications taking attention in January or February, but it has the time to do it. So I think the time is well spent to focus on this, and frankly, while it's still fresh in the minds of everyone, to get it done. And frankly, getting it done, I think, is high on the agenda just so we can move on to other things. I presume, having sat through the meetings, that if you, as chair, thought it couldn't be done by the next meeting, you would say so, but it can.
Well, not being as familiar and going into all the details as of this point regarding the County Planning Commission submission, and I have not sent the information to the other members of the Planning Commission just yet because I wanted to hear Council's feelings and motions, if there are motions. To answer Councilman Walker's question or concern, most of the work and intent of updating the TND or modifying the TND document took place during Alan Smith's project's absence. We had this on the books to do prior to the Stockburger project becoming a real potential project. So we have not looked, although certainly we've considered this project in our thinking and our preparation, but this project was not the inspiration and kept moving during the downtime of the project. So we're not looking to race along with this project. The Planning Commission, based on our previous work, looking forward to the Bucks County Planning Commission's response, which we've been looking for many, many months, to have a strong TND ordinance, a better one for the borough, regardless of any specific project. So I stand by my statement that, just speaking for myself, I think we probably have enough information from the County Planning Commission because this should be, I mean, this will be their final review. We waited a long time for it. And we'll take this information and complete the work. If there is some reason we get it done in the schedule discussed, we'll certainly let Council know. Right now, I don't see any reason why not, and I would think that everybody on the Planning Commission with this information would be very happy to finish it up and have the thing finally reviewed and adopted so we can go on to other activities.
Again, I go back to my observations, and I went through this quickly, and in the opening comments section, my note to myself was this was a bad job. I don't like that to say that, but when you read, we believe the proposed standards are insufficient to effectuate the look and feel of what the borough wants in a TND based on the statement of purpose. Many of the standards are subjective and some are missing completely. Definitions are vague, etc. That concerns me. And again, I know everyone worked very hard to get this in, but I don't want to be time frame driven. I think it's a mistake, and I will not vote to support your recommendation.
Well,
but I think the point, Bob, is if they can't do it, if they can't take it up and make it right to their own satisfaction before bringing it back to us, they'll tell us. So you can, let me finish, if I may. You can push it off a month, you can push it off 6 months, you can push it off a year. There's still work to be done. They have the opportunity now to take it up, to digest this, and to come back or not for the November meeting. And if it's not, it's not. But there's certainly no reason to take time to fail to move it forward when we have the review letter in its entirety now for them to work on.